Hi everyone, this is Michael Connon representing the TooMedToo's Star Wars Network. We've got your fix, and this is episode number 34 of the Bacta Tank. It is brought to you by the patrons on my Patreon page. We have Chris from Kentucky, Kylo Ren Flores, Kylo Customs, Heidi Feder, and Rural Farm Boy. If you'd like to join them, you can go find that at patreon.com/TooMedToo. And our featured guest tonight is Ro from the Scarif podcast, a proud member of the Red 5 family. Ro, how are you doing?
How's it going, Michael? Thanks
I am.
for thanks for having me on. Thanks for reaching out, and should be a lot of fun. How was everybody?
Yeah. Well, we've talked about it a few times about trying to get together, and we were on a show a couple weeks ago, and I said, "Hey, why don't we try and get together?" And the opportunity arose, and here we are.
Here we are.
Oh, and we have Andy in the chat. Hi, Andy. He said his two favorite fellas. I don't know who he's talking about, but
Good day to you, Andy.
and we have Pauline and we have Ronnie.
This is great. These are like new people besides Andy. Hello, new people.
Yeah, that's why it's always great to That's why I always like doing this, because usually I pick up a couple people from whoever is coming on. When I had my August Australia month, I picked up quite a few people from Australia that I never
Oh,
interacted with, and
nice.
they've shown back up in the chats. So that's a good thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Down under.
So, Ro, let's get it started. Tell everybody where to find you and about your podcast and your network.
Sure. So I am one third of the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. If you don't know us, we are Scarif Podcast on Twitter, and we can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Podcast.com, Pandora, Anchor, and wherever else you find your favorite podcasts. And, Brad and I started the podcast last year right after Star Wars Celebration Chicago, and we've been going, having fun ever since. We have some help from time to time from Alex, who is the Salty Nerd over at the Salty Nerd Podcast. He kind of fills in when there's a mismatch of hosts, but yeah, we're just having fun. The Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast is a podcast. We don't just talk about Star Wars. We kind of do some deep dives and character examinations, situational, scenarios. We really get deep into the why and the who. We have topics, besides just, we did a while back, we did a collecting episode with Andy and Josh from Holo Chronicles, which was a lot of fun. And but we also do, we talk about some deep stuff in Star Wars lore. We get deep into, Force lore and the legacy of balance and things like that. So we have a lot of fun, and it's fantastic. If you guys don't know about the Scare Scuttlebutt podcast, do me a favor, look it up, listen to a couple of episodes, let us know what you think, and we'd be happy to. We love interacting with people that listen to the show. So we do a lot of that on Twitter between Brad and myself, and it's just a lot of fun.
Excellent. And then you also, besides the podcast, you started the Red 5 Network.
That is correct. I had an idea to bring some content creators together under an umbrella, and we call it the Red 5 Network. So also has Red 5 also has a Twitter account, Red 5, the number 5 Network. Make sure to follow us. But, the website, red5network.com, has all of us between Red Squadron, which is the main membership, and Gold Squadron. I don't want to say the main membership because we really, Red Squadron and Gold Squadron It's a collection of content creators that not everybody is Star Wars related. We've got some pop culture reviews and movie reviews and things like that in there as well. And it's just a really fun group of people that create content, and we're all under that Red 5 Network umbrella. We support each other creatively, and technically sometimes I'm a big tech guru, so I kind of help out where I can. But it's a really fantastic community, Red 5 Network. It's a group of content creators that are very supportive of each other, especially with all the stuff that happens on social media. We like to kind of keep an eye out for each other and make sure that we keep an eye out for the Star Wars fan community. So that's what Red 5 Network is in a pinch, in a nutshell. Go check it out.
Yeah, and I'm the 2x2 Star Wars Network, but I am friends with the Red 5 Network. Um, I often use the hashtag Orange27. Um,
Yes,
that's just what it happens to be because I don't know. That's what it is. But
we'll
that's
get an orange. We'll definitely get an orange squadron soon for sure. That'd be awesome.
what whenever there is whenever I'm in one of the podcasts, it's always Orange27 checking in. So that's always that's always good, and a lot of people know me just from that, and then I don't know if they actually know who I am, but they know the Orange27. So that's something that's enjoyable. It's fun for me to put that up there because being a friend of the podcast, so in the
Sure,
network.
definitely.
Um, so now you said you and Brad started the Scare podcast after Celebration last year. Did you and Brad know each other beforehand, or did you meet at Celebration?
No, he lives in I always get it wrong, South Carolina. He We met actually on Twitter. He used to talk a lot about JFK and things like that, and I've always been interested in the mythology of JFK and the assassination and the all that was going on in the 60s. So we started talking about all that on Twitter, and realized that, so I had offered to maybe produce a documentary with some of the information that he was finding out and researching, because again I was really into it. And within those talks we realized that not only are our birth dates a day apart in September, we also had a love for Star Wars, which I didn't know. And that's how we discovered that passion for the franchise. I live in Chicago, so when Chicago's Star Wars Celebration in Chicago came up, I said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna take a microphone and head over to McCormick Place and just interview a whole bunch of people and do some coverage." And that's where we kind of got the idea to launch episode 1 as coverage of Star Wars Celebration Chicago, and it's been fantastic.
Excellent. Yeah, I was just I keep checking Twitter every couple minutes because there's a rumor that the Mandalorian season 2 is supposed to drop sometime tonight,
The
and
trailer.
I would have thought if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. But then again, a few months back, or it might have been more than a few months, when they had the press conference for the High Republic, which they've never done anything like that before. They did it at 9 o'clock at night
Oh
Pacific
yeah,
time, so it was 11 o'clock our time. But
yeah,
I had it all set up with people to come on and interviews and talk about the different multimedia events that were going to happen then. And it was just kind of like, oh, that was kind of a wash. But so I just if it does happen, we'll have it and we can talk about it. But yeah, that's
yeah. We'll keep checking. We'll keep checking. It's how many days away is it? Season 2,
40.
40. Yeah, 43 days. I think
40?
I saw somewhere in there,
Yeah.
something like that. So,
I mean, it's the
um,
30th, so 30, and then today's the so we got another 40, 44,
yeah,
46,
something like that.
somewhere around there.
Yeah. But today what did they dropped the Squadron cinematic, which was pretty fantastic and exciting for everybody.
They did. It didn't get as much chatter as I thought it would. People talked about it for an hour or so afterwards, after it dropped. But that was pretty much it for on Twitter, and there wasn't much on. There was a little bit on Facebook, but not much about that. So, I mean, I'm really excited about it. The graphics look even more amazing with watching this trailer, and I'm really intrigued with it to see. Is it going to be able to sustain those graphics the entire time? Because it looked like almost movie quality. I mean,
Yeah,
you
and
can tell it's obviously animated, but it looked like movie quality.
yeah, and again, when they drop these cinematics, they obviously, spend a lot of time with the cinematics. It probably, I mean, the gameplay will probably be close to it, but these cinematics are done with extra TLC to get people excited, and I can't imagine the actual gameplay being as smooth and rich as what we just saw today. But I could be wrong. Obviously they've got new technology, new render engines. The PlayStation 5 is going to be the system at play here, which the specs on that are on fire. So who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm on the fence. I was talking with a couple people earlier today in a Discord group. I'm on the fence. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go for the VR on it. I don't have VR yet, but I'd say I'm probably about 80% there on the VR aspect for that. But I just want to make sure I have it done. But then like Oculus decided that they're going to come out with a new system in about a month. So it's like, do I just get do I want to wait until halfway through October and then buy the new system? Is it going to be that much better? And just trying to get as much information as I can, because I don't want to buy something right now for $500 when the new one that's coming out is the same price or cheaper and better. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with that. But
Yeah.
I think I could have a lot of fun with the VR, and then that opens up a lot of possibilities. Exactly, going with. I just read the chat. I didn't mean exactly. It opens up a lot of possibilities with Vader Immortal and some of the other VRs that are coming out in the near future. So we'll have to look into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
So how did you?
From a certain point of view, also kind of echoed my thoughts regarding the gameplay and the graphics. Not really an indicator of the actual gameplay, but like I said, I mean, we've seen some pretty good gameplay, and again, this is going to be some new stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to a VR experience on this. I have an Oculus system. Let's see how it does with that, and obviously it depends on the system that is tied to that. But yeah, we'll see. I'm definitely, I posted something on Twitter the other day. I said I wonder if my wife will notice if I have 3 PlayStations in the house. But we'll see what we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's just swinging the, oh, you got a VR system? When did you get that? That's going to be my thing
Right.
that I probably have going on. And it's like, oh well, gotta make that trade between VR and some of the new Black series that are coming out, which is another thing too for the collectors out there. It's rumored from now until, I don't know if it's first quarter, second quarter next year. There's about 45 new Black series that are rumored to be coming out, which is, I mean, that's almost $1,000 worth of action figures.
I can't anymore. I can't. I just can't do it.
Well, like I spoke with you earlier, I'm working on the office, and the office is 80% done. I'm missing a chair and just a couple other little things. That's why I'm still in the living room, and you can see there's some pictures going up. So there's right now it's just paper wall for the design, but those are I'll be out of here. Yeah. So there's an idea of what we need to do. And I say what we need to do. I have nothing to do with it. I'm organizing my toys, and she's putting up pictures in the living room. So that's kind of how it goes. But, all right.
Excellent.
So let's talk about Rogue. How did you get into Star Wars? Were like me? I was born into it. I was born in '78, so Star Wars was always there. I didn't know of a life without Star Wars. It was just kind of you know it was weird for me because it was just always there. So I don't even know what people talk about that didn't like Star Wars or have Star Wars in their life or that have never seen a movie. It was one of those things that was taped off. We had HBO, and every movie in the world in the '80s was taped off of HBO. Whether it be that or the Karate Kid, or I
Sure.
say the adult movies, but not like adult movies. I mean like the rated R, Legal Eagles or something like that.
Sure.
That I would watch that were in the special drawer. It sounds really dirty when I'm saying it, but it's really not.
That's funny. Well, but back in the day, I looked into the heart of a Sith holocron and learned all the secrets of the Star War. But no, I was 7 years old, and my mother took me to go see Star Wars. Not on purpose. We were actually leaving church on a Sunday, and I was hungry, and I really wanted a theater hot dog. There's a movie theater called the Adelphi Theater in Chicago in Rogers Park neighborhood. And we went in there. I sat down, and the second that Star Destroyer hits, went over my head. I was bit. Star Wars had entered my brain, and it has never left. So that's really kind of how I got into it. I don't remember liking sci-fi before that, but it's one of those things that, like you said, it's you don't remember your life before Star Wars. Like, what was I doing? Because Star Wars really is one of those benchmarks in life, for fans that it's one of those, it's where were you when. And a lot of us remember where we were when we first saw Star Wars, or first kiss in grammar school, or whatever. It just happens to be one of those things. So it's pretty cool.
And then did you now after they call them the Dark Times? Were you into the books? And
I was not, I always have this conversation with Andrew and Marisha over at the Coruscant Radio Underground and the Science Fictionary podcast. I'm not that big of a reader, but during those dark times, and that's like what, early '90s, mid '90s, there was no Star Wars. I did get into the Brian Daley books, Han Solo at Star's End, and obviously the original plan of what a Star Wars sequel was going to be. Alan Dean Foster's help me out here, Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
but yeah, yeah.
So I got into those books a little bit. Just read them and just kind of put them away. It wasn't like, obviously there was no social media, so you really couldn't talk to your friends about it other than, your friends face to face. What are you guys doing? What are you reading, over the summer? It wasn't really talked about too much, until the Timothy Zahn books came out. And, there was that one thing that, the one project from Lucasfilm that they basically, they did the books, the comic books, the soundtrack, and everything except for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what was that? I forgot what that was again. Uh,
Oh,
Shadows of the Empire.
yes, yes. Um,
So that happened. I was really into that, and I read the book, and I listened to the soundtrack, and I got all the behind the scenes stuff, and it was great. And I think that's really kind of the resurgence of Star Wars. I know George Lucas was kind of gauging the public, the pulse of the public to see if people wanted more Star Wars, and we did. So that's
yeah, I think that was just just more that whole thing was more of like the filament test to see, if we don't make a movie, how popular is Star Wars still, or do we need to
Yeah.
put the money into making movies? But that's where I never got into the books. I hated reading, so I just I was with the movies, the original trilogy, watched them over and over, until the prequels came out.
Yeah.
And then, at the time the prequels came out, I was, more, I went to go see them in the theaters a couple of times, but I was more into, going out and partying and chasing girls than, the movies. But it was still, always growing up, my family members would get me Star Wars things for my
Hmm.
birthday or for Christmas,
Sure.
because it's like, oh, we don't know what to get them. We'll get them something for Star Wars because we love Star Wars. So there was always that always going around. It was always, everybody always knew of my love for Star Wars.
Even
But it
even
didn't.
now, I mean, even now when people don't know what to get me, I always say, you know what? As long as it has a Star Wars logo on it, I'll be happy. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah. Don't get me any action figures or anything like that because chances are I already have them. But try and find something obscure that whether it's I got a waffle maker a couple years ago for Christmas and it was amazing. It's the Death Star one. It's only been
Yeah.
barely ever used, but I still have it in case I need to make some Death Star um, waffles.
Yeah. Who doesn't want Death Star waffles in the morning?
Yeah, I did have the toaster, but that didn't work very well because it burnt the bread where the Death Star was and didn't toast the rest of it. But it looked really
Oh,
cool. It
yeah.
just wasn't very functional. Um, and then we also had joining in. You said we had From a Certain Point of View, and we also had Vader's Girl coming in. And I'm going to guess that it's Adam saying that to get me Funko Pops because I don't have any of those. I do have Funko Pops. I just don't collect them. But I have acquired a few because it's Star Wars memorabilia. So that's just something that every once in a while needs to be cleared up.
A couple of years ago, I got several Funko Pops that were given to me, and those are figures that I chose not to collect them. They're kind of obviously they're very unique looking, and I didn't. Again, it's nothing that I pursued, getting. But people kind of gave me a few, and I'm like, oh, okay, they're kind of cool. But Matt Vader over at the Salty Nerd Podcast got me into at least buying and pre-buying the Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary edition, and those are really nice. I gotta say. Um, but I'm hoping like you, I don't collect them, but people continue to give them to me. So
Um,
that's cool.
yeah, I have amassed quite a few for my non collection, but like yeah, the 40th anniversary ones are really nice. It's kind of like the Black Series. Some of the Black Series look like garbage from the ones that first came out, and now the ones they're making look a lot better with the new technology they have just over the 5 or 7 years, and they actually look like the character. And then you have like the Amazon exclusives that are coming out every month. That the first one I think was the Wampa, and then
Yeah,
it's
that's the
Luke
one.
Han.
They're right here.
Okay, yeah, those are
Here's the Wampa. Here's Luke and Han. I'm sorry, Luke and the Tauntaun.
yeah. I mean those look amazing, but they're also twice as expensive as the other Funkos. But I would rather instead of getting 100 Funkos a year to come out, I'd rather get 10 of the ones that you have behind you, just for the quality. Have you seen the ones from what would have been Celebration this year? The Macquarie. There was the fourth of the
Oh,
Macquarie.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Somebody is sending me a Vader one. Super fan. Nick. Nick from what's his Twitter handle? Well, it's Nicholas Schaefer and Backyard Tardis. He's kind enough to send me. He's one of our patrons on the Scare of Scuttlebutt, but he's sending me a Vader McQuarrie Funko Pop, which very kind of him. But I can't wait to get that. I love everything. I love anything Imperial. It's from the original trilogy. The Stormtroopers were great. Great design. Anything Empire. Darth Vader obviously is my favorite. Not only I want to say not only my favorite Star Wars character of all time, but probably my favorite fictional character of all time. Um, just something about him, something dark within my persona is attracted to someone like Darth Vader. It's interesting. I mean, he's got a great look. He's got a cape. Who doesn't want a cape, right?
Yeah, I mean, that makes everybody a
So
badass.
yeah, so that I love Vader.
Yeah, GameStop called my local GameStop called me to let me know that they got some of them in, and I was right down there, and I said, they said, how many do you want? And I said, how many do you have? They said, we have 4. I said, okay, I'll take them. Not to put on eBay. They know that I'm not putting them on eBay to sell. That's why they're more than willing to, try and hook me up with whatever they have.
That's
And
cool.
one of the collecting groups I'm in, I gave one, to somebody in there. Matt Vader was looking for one, needed one.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
I sent him one, and everybody's like, "Oh, what are you going to charge me?" And it's like, listen, I got it. I'm just going to charge you for cost because I'm not, it's not my thing to sit here and make money off of it. Now I have one, and or like the Revan, I have a couple of the Revan left over, and those are going for $40 or $50. I'm trying to see if anybody wants one or who wants it, and I'll give it to them at cost. And it's been a few months now. I'll try one more time. If nobody wants them, then I'll throw them on eBay. But I'll put them on there for cheaper. I'll get rid of them in a day because instead of selling them for $50 and let them sit on there for a month, I'll put it on there for $40 with shipping and make $20 off of it. And they get a good deal. I make a few dollars. And for me, I think that's kind of the way to instead of being a scalper of that because it's just I understand that that's what the it's not necessarily what they're worth. It's what the market's willing to
Sure.
to go for it. So knock a few bucks off and make everybody happy is kind of
Yeah.
what I'm going for. But now um the Yoda one,
The big
if
one?
anybody has the Yoda pulling the X-wing out of the water,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
it's on Amazon right now. Amazon had it on sale. I haven't looked in a day or two, but had it on sale for $29. I'm going to tell you, pick that up. It's the best one I've seen. I have that one. That one's actually I have the Celebration sticker on there, not the Galactic exclusive, and I took it out, and that's going to come out of the box. I don't have anything. I don't have any. The only other one I have out of the box is the Millennium Falcon. I took that one out of the box, but this one, it's beautiful. The detail on it is amazing. I have the video, I just haven't edited it yet to put up, and it's one of those things. I'm sure I would have gotten a lot more views and whatever it happens to be if I would have put it up last week. I just haven't. I put up there. It's more like when I put stuff on YouTube. I know it's not gonna go viral. It's for my friends to see, versus trying to become famous with one Funko Pop video.
Yeah, the Luke and Tauntaun. I did an unboxing video, which is on the Scarif YouTube, um, and I'm the guy that doesn't take toys out of the box unless if I buy two, I'll take one out, obviously to kind of touch and feel it and display it and whatever. But I took the Luke and Tauntaun out of the box to show folks, but it's really nice. It's sculpted nice, and like you said, I think this series, the ones for Empire Strikes Back are really great. I'm looking forward to the probe droid one that
Mm-hmm.
should be coming out soon. Again, like Vader's girl 28 says, "Go Empire." So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, now that I have, I'm going to have a recording desk in a little area to, actually be, designated for that, and not just that kind of turns into it when I need it. I think I'll be taking a few of them out of the box and possibly putting like that probe droid together with the Black Series probe droid, and having the Funko with that, or some of the other Black Series with like the Chopper Black Series, the Chopper Funko, and just kind of having them next to each other just to see. I got to go through everything and decide what I'm really going to do. But right now, my plan is, that Yoda with the X-wing and the Baby Yoda, the 10-inch one, have those over there.
Folks are talking about lightsabers in the chat, so I wanted to show my Graflex to people.
And which lightsaber is that? Is that Vader's?
It's well, I think it's Luke's. But yeah, I've found some really good deals on lightsabers on eBay, and this one is really nice. But I think my favorite one is my Saberforge Venomous Fury. And I want to give a quick shout out to my brother from another mother from the Jedi Temple Archive podcast, Rob LeBear, also another member of the Red 5 Network. He's got a I think he's got a Star Killer lightsaber that is fantastic. And when he was here for ScarifCon in Chicago, he brought it with, and I wanted to conveniently take it and hide it away, if you know what I mean. But the Saber Forged lightsabers are expensive, but they're really, really nice, and they've got a really great weight to them. If anybody in the chat, wants to, direct message me, I'd be happy to kind of give you my thoughts on lightsabers. And they're really, really nice, the Saber Forge. And I think out of all the lightsabers that I have, the Saber Forge is my favorite. What's the other company that does lightsabers? I can't remember.
I don't know. The lightsabers is the one thing I haven't gotten into.
Yeah. But sometimes the lightsabers are too big and they don't really match what you see on screen. Sometimes, I like them to kind of fit in your hand. I think if the company comes to mind, I'll blurt it out, but I can't remember. But some of those other lightsabers are just too big. They almost look they look toy-like. And then the Saber Forges are really, really, really nice. How many lightsabers do I have? 7.
7.
7 lightsabers. Oh, sorry. 8.
8. Okay. Now are they all displayed?
Yes. So this one is a lightsaber I got from eBay, out of all places. It's machined. You can put a rod in there. There's no electronics in there, but it's not like a double bladed, but it's almost like a saber staff. But it's really cool. Again, it's air, what do you call it? Airplane aluminum or something. But it's machined. It's really nice. I'm like General Grievous. I've got lightsabers that I acquired through my battles for my collection.
Yeah, like you were saying that there's some good deals on eBay, and if you're willing to wait for something. I mean, I've had books that were on there for a year or two that were on my list, and some of the Star Wars books, especially the ones that came out early 2000s or for the prequels, that they didn't make a lot of because no one wanted them, because who cared about books during the prequels, and who wanted the one book Dressing the Galaxy. It's all just costumes. Well, now it goes for
$300, $700. I mean, there's 2 versions. Yeah. I've got the cheaper version, which is just the hardcover, and I think some samples, and that I think I've seen that on eBay for $250. But there's another version. It's the hardcover, and it's a kind of like a compendium and a wraparound that goes inside it with some swatches and samples. And
Yep.
I've seen that
Yeah.
I've seen that go as high as a thousand.
Yeah.
So
That's the one I have, and I got it from somebody. Actually, the guys from Hollow Chronicles sent me messages. They said, "Hey, do you have this book?" And I said, "No, it's out of my price range. I haven't been able to find it for under $500." And they said, "Hey, why don't you contact this person?" And the person gave me the price, and I said, "Okay, that's fine." I said, "Listen, I don't want to haggle with you. Tell me the price that you want, and we'll see if we agree." And they told me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll take it. That's fine." And I made sure they knew what they had. They were offering it for $100. And I was like, "Okay." And I said to them, I said, "I just want to make sure you know how much this is worth before you sell it to me for $100." And they said, "Yes." Just want to let you know the binding's messed up on it. And I was like, "Okay, even if I had to get it rebound, for a book that's not, you know, supposed to be rebound or whatever, would have cost me $150, which I'm not going to do. But it would still be half of what I paid for it. Um, you know, the used going for 500. So, that's kind of how I picked up that book. And there's been a few other ones that I've just sat on. And it was, I don't know if it was because of COVID that some of the prices kind of skyrocketed, and then other ones, the books kind of got flooded on the market. Another one was the Art of Clone Wars. The price went up $100 or $200, but then all of a sudden, a bunch of books hit eBay once the price went up, but they went for the price they were going at before. So it's kind of like, did somebody just have, a bunch of them? Because one of the things I learned eBay the hard way was if you see something for 40 and the same thing for 50 and the same thing for 60, just because you're paying $40 for it doesn't mean you're getting a good deal, because it might only be worth 20. But if I own three of them, I'll put them on there for 40, 50, and 60, knowing that you're going to see it and pay for it, even though it's only worth 20. So I learned that the hard way when I got into my little collecting phase.
I wanted to answer Pauline's question. She said, "Which characters of the lightsabers, or whose lightsabers do I have?" Um, I've got Darth Vader, and I don't know if you remember a company called Icons. They built props and museum quality lightsabers. There was an Obi-Wan, there was a Luke from Return of the Jedi, and there was a Darth Vader. So that was like my very first lightsaber that I bought from Icons. Icons is a company that is no longer around, but it's an autographed edition. It's autographed by James Earl Jones, and I got that at the Smithsonian when the Star Wars exhibit was traveling the U.S. And it's a really great lightsaber. It's mounted and it's got plastic around it. Um, but I've got, I think half of my lightsaber collection is like custom lightsabers. I've got a, kind of like a hybrid Star Killer, ancient lightsaber. I don't like some of the Black Series. I know somebody mentioned the Kylo Ren lightsaber with the crossguard. It, you know, I'm kind of a I'm kind of a purist when it comes to props. If it doesn't look like the film version, then I don't get it. So and then that's the other thing too with the Kylo Ren lightsaber. To me, it just seems really thick. It just reminds me of a flashlight. And I never really got the Black Series Kylo Ren lightsaber. And again, if it doesn't ignite the way it does in the movie, then you know I don't get it. But I guess that's the long-winded answer, Pauline. Thank you for asking.
Still no Mandalorian trailer yet, but you never know. Crazier things have happened. I don't know. When they might drop. I'm thinking that it might be too late to drop it now, but it's still, if they're going to be in Pacific time, it's still only 7 o'clock. So
Sure, that's
there's
true.
there's still
That's
chances,
true.
like they did with the High Republic. It started at 11 o'clock at night Eastern time. I know you're in Central, so it's only 9 o'clock for you. But
Yeah.
they start releasing stuff at 11 o'clock. It's still gonna, I don't know if that's the best thing to do or not, because it's gonna hit the rest of the news cycle tonight, or the time tonight going for Pacific, and then it's gonna hit the East Coast, tomorrow morning when everybody's getting up. So you kind of get a little extra bang for your buck there. I don't know if that's their reason why they did it the last time, or if that's just how it worked out to be. But speaking of the Mandalorian, we were in a Mandalorian panel a few weeks ago. Uh, what do you think with the Mandalorian? Do you have any? I know when we spoke about it then, it's kind of, no one really knows what's going to happen because there's so many rumors going on that I don't know if that is kind of the intention, or if that's just a byproduct of there's actually so much going on that no one can pinpoint anything. And a lot of the rumor or scoopers that have been involved, or in the first Mandalorian, that they literally had, people were joking around, they were hiding in bushes. They had aerial photos, and in parking decks, shooting and recording and podcasting from there. They've been kind of silent about everything.
Yeah, the thing about the rumors, obviously now with social media, every little nugget kind of grows and grows and grows like a cancer. It just grows out of control. But I think Lucasfilm likes that because it keeps the dialogue going, especially with guys like us who have a podcast. It's something that we can talk about and help them generate buzz. I don't want to say that it's full out misinformation, but it could be. But I just think it could be one of those things it's highly controlled, and it's utilized to just help them generate that marketing, word of mouth. Obviously season one was a complete hit with fans. It seems like Baby Yoda has brought fans together after a tumultuous, couple of years with the trilogy films. But we're going to get more of that. So I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to not knowing what to expect. I loved, I kind of sometimes get bummed out when there's casting news and say the rumor that this is going to be Ahsoka, or it's like sometimes I do want to find out and be surprised to see a character instead of knowing expecting a character, because I think that's half the fun. I don't know what you think.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on that?
I kind of go. I flip flop on that. I go back and forth. It's like, if Baby Yoda, or the child, whatever you want to call it, would have come out, I think part of that surprise, and part of the spectacular that is Baby Yoda, would have vastly been diminished. But I mean, I've said it before. I was with Mike Pappas, who he has the Rogue One. Well, it was the Rogue One podcast. They've now changed to the Pop Culture Hour. Him and I were sitting on the couch. I sit off Twitter all day, and here's two big men sitting there on the couch hugging each other, like screaming like schoolgirls at Baby Yoda coming out. And it was just I wish we were recording if we would have known that, like, if they would have said you need to record yourselves, because it would have been an
Right.
internet sensation. Like our buddies over at the Bob Matt cast, their video that has 3 million views or whatever it was from their reaction video. I mean, this would have been the same thing, or along those lines probably. But no one knew that it was going to be anything like that. So no one was
Sure.
really thinking about a reaction like that. But I think it's also a difference between Ahsoka's going to be in it, or Rex is going to be in it, or we know Tamara Morrison's going to be in it, but we don't know who he's playing. Um, you know, and we're all just speculating or assuming that it's going to be this person or that person because it would make sense. But it also makes sense that he's someone else that's never been introduced before, or he's just in the bar having a drink, or the serving drinks in the cantina, or whatever it is. It makes just as much sense as that, but that's not going to get clicks and sell newspapers.
Sure.
If you just say, "Oh, yeah, it's just probably he's probably a nobody," they just want to put him in there for shits and giggles because it's fun, or to say, "Here you go, thanks for being part of Star Wars all this time." But it's and then I mean, it's fun right now to talk about, and you can do episode after episode on the speculation. I think this is going to happen, and if Ahsoka's in it and Rex is in it, or is that going to be a setup then for Rebels? Is it going to be a live action Rebels and Ahsoka show, or is it going to be a cartoon that's rumored? It's just there's so much. There's like an infinite number of possibilities because we don't know anything about anything. We know that there's a Kenobi series coming out. We know that there's a Cassian Andor series coming out. We don't know when. We don't even know if they have scripts yet. We've been told that they have. They have to redo it. So it's just that's and everything right now is just rumors. Some of the scoopers that we are getting the rumors from are pretty reliable, and it's not like the zeros of the internet.
Let me
But
ask you. Let me ask you this, and I'll
yeah,
pose this question to the chat, folks in the chat too. I always speculate, and I wonder really, the child. The story of the Mandalorian takes place, after Return of the Jedi and before the sequel trilogy as we know it. I'm trying to figure out too, really, what impact the child's story has on the sequel trilogy, if any. Will we see the child's story come to a completion when the series is over? And does it, or will it have some sort of impact on the future of Star Wars, starting from the end of the story or the beginning of the sequel trilogy, from The Force Awakens and beyond? Why are we being told this story about this other Force sensitive being that is the same race as Yoda? Those are the questions that intrigue me. What are your thoughts on that? I'm very curious to find out what other people think.
well, I had a crazy theory that we were gonna have the Mandalorian only be one season, and like I like to go with these crazy things, just kind of like, could you imagine if this happened? Not necessarily that it would be a good business idea because it would ruin then all the other seasons and the money they're going to make off the other seasons. But Baby Yoda gets sent back to his home planet, and then to preface this, Baby Yoda's planet is in the unknown regions, and the unknown region is it's the unknown regions of the unknown regions. So, like the Chiss that live in the unknown regions, there has to be a spot in space that they no longer know about. And I understand like the unknown regions just mean the core world doesn't know about it, but like there has to be the people that like the Chiss. There has to be a spot in space that they no longer know about. So past that is where the Yoda species are, and they're all force sensitive, strong with the force, and that they were going to come back and help defeat Palpatine. Once we knew that Palpatine was going to be there, but that obviously was it would make for a great story. And it would be interesting, but you're not going to be able to have more seasons of The Mandalorian, so it's going to ruin all the money that they could possibly have made off of it. So that's obviously not obviously why it didn't happen because it's just some crazy idea. But I don't really know what's going to happen. Like it
Well,
comes
just
to
a certain point of view has got a very interesting point. He says, honestly, I hope the child doesn't get shoehorned into the sequel trilogy. But that's my point. Like, why are we seeing this story, and what repercussions does it have on the sequel trilogy? that, that's my question. That's why I'm intrigued to find out, like, what's up with with baby Yoda? What's up with the child? Why, does he play a role in the future? Because obviously, they live a long time, and this one is very young. So, are we setting up to see another Force using Yoda like character beyond, the Rise of Skywalker? Are they setting something up where, this character meets up with another character and starts this process again of training, people to defend the galaxy against evil? So, I'm very intrigued as to where this is going.
But like with that, what did the armorer mean when she says you need to take him to his people, or find his people? Does that mean other Jedi or other Force users, or does
Right.
that mean other people in his species? Like I was saying, my crazy idea that the Yoda species is so far out there that it's in a land where like no one knows about them. Um, that does it take 20 space years in Star Wars to get to? So if they do decide in season 4 or 5, once it ends, to go, take Yoda back, does it take 20 years to get there and 20 years to come back? So by the time, or whatever it works out math wise, so whenever it comes back, that it's not Rey training the new Jedi Order, it's the child, whatever its name is, training the new Jedi Order for whatever it happens to be, because that's a possibility too.
Yeah.
And once again, it's just wild speculation. And how do you then go, like, the way that they, there was, and the original Star Wars, now A New Hope, there was one Jedi left, and that was Obi-Wan. And he sacrificed himself, and so that the rest of his friends could survive and get away. And then we find out that there's Yoda also, and so that then now there was two of them, and once Yoda dies, Luke is the last one. But then we find out, no, there is another, even though she wasn't, you know, Leia wasn't supposed to be Luke's sister. It was another person that was out there somewhere, who was Luke's sister. But just kind of the way things evolved, it ended up being, it is what it is. But then we go to find out after Order 66, which we find out about through the prequels. That when now we get the Clone Wars cartoons and Rebels cartoons and other stories, that there was a lot more Jedi out there, but they were all hiding and in seclusion and being hunted down. So it was the ones that survived. So that really doesn't take away from the story. Like you have Kanan Jarrus, which Rebels. I think Rebels as a whole, Rebels is superior to Clone Wars, although Clone Wars has the best arc with the Siege of Mandalore, for when it comes to cartoons. But
Animations, Michael, not cartoons. Animations.
I'm sorry, I apologize. But are they considered anime? There's the other question. Um, but so like that takes away, and then you find out that there was Cal Kestis from Fallen Order, which it's canon that he was then there, and then you find out in that video game that there was other Jedi that survived. So you find out that there were all these other Jedi, and it just happens to be that it wasn't that Luke was the last Jedi, but he was the last Jedi that there was hope for to save the galaxy. So they're inventing more stories, or through other books. Some of the books that came out with Galaxy's Edge, where there's Jedi that survived, and it's not taking away from the story, but it's kind of adding to it, showing that how exceptional Luke really was, or could be, compared to these other Jedi that were still left that just kind of went into hiding, and we're never going to be able to overthrow the emperor or anything to do with that. So I mean that is really interesting on what's going to happen, with Baby Yoda, because you have now this Force user, and so you have Ahsoka that's supposedly rumored to be in the Mandalorian. Why didn't she help out? Why isn't she in more of the story after Rebels? And what happened with her, and then what happens with the child? Do they kill him off? Does he die? Because that's going to be really bad for the people that love him. And I know you can't make you have to keep your story to what your story is, but you can't kill off a little baby Yoda, and the people that only like Star Wars now because of him or got brought in to that are they're going to lose their shit if that happens. And
Yeah, I wanted to touch on something that you were talking about earlier. Alex and I, when we get together, we talk about the surviving Jedi, and he is one that doesn't like the idea that, we grew up thinking that Luke was the last Jedi, Luke and Obi-Wan, after Obi-Wan left, Luke was left kind of to train maybe a new generation of Jedi. But for the most part, Order 66 at the time, we know that happened. And Vader and his, there were no Inquisitors back then. We were introduced to that concept later. But, Vader hunted down and destroyed all Jedi as far as we knew, coming up with the story. But I don't have a problem with introducing new Jedi, new characters. Um, like I said, Alex and I talk about this. He's got a problem with introducing new Jedi. He wants to make he likes the idea that Luke was like that was it, and this is what makes him special. But I like the fact that you kind of go back and say, well, Luke is special because of X, Y, and Z. And I think, another reason Luke is special is because of his familial ties to Anakin, who, before I dare to say, before he was burned to a crisp on Mustafar, it was confirmed by George Lucas that he is the chosen one. And I think because Star Wars is obviously a story of family ties and lineage, and we got the Skywalker saga, et cetera, et cetera. So I think this is one reason for me why Luke is important, and the Skywalker family is important. So as far as having other Jedi that survived, I don't have a problem with that. What I like to think, I guess, in my own head is how Luke is special because of all the things that I mentioned. I think other Jedi are there. They're other Jedi. They've been defeated and hunted down and all the stuff that has happened to them. But Luke, really is special for many reasons. And he brings hope. He's optimistic. He saves his father. He redeems Anakin, et cetera, et cetera. And I think those are obviously the reasons that a lot of people were upset at the middle film of the trilogy, because it does kind of go outside the realm of the core character of who Luke Skywalker happens to be, or at least how we remember him to be. But it's interesting because, like I said, I don't have a problem with surviving Jedi. I think it's kind of plausible. A galaxy so big, they went out and hid. I mean, they had to do what they had to do, kind of. And no, Adam, they haven't subverted my expectations yet. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think I'm going off on a tangent here, but I'm not opposed to having Jedi that have survived, because I think it's kind of, to me, it seems logical. Like, some of them survived. It just kind of, there were so many to begin with. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, you have 10,000 or 12,000 Jedi spread all over the galaxy. there's going to be a few that fall through the cracks. There's a lot more than a
Sure.
few. They hunted them down, and out of the say 1% out of the hundreds that survived, 1% of those were able to survive and stay hidden, and that's
Sure.
the stories we're getting right now. And
And
were
I
they
think
able
for
to cover?
me, yeah, and I think for me, I know Ray kind of chose her family, and she's, she was a Palpatine. I mean, some people, tongue in cheek, post that, the sequel trilogy ended up, revealing that the Skywalkers were the ones that died, and the Palpatines, basically survived and did what they did. But I think that's one of the reasons that for me the sequel trilogy really doesn't work for me, um, because it is the story of the Skywalker clan, and whether you pick your name to be Skywalker, it's not the same as being an actual Skywalker. And I think was it an experiment in storytelling and narrative? Yeah, I can kind of see that. Um, but yes, Adam, my expectations were far from subverted. They were squashed. But that's neither here nor there. But again, I do think family relationships in Star Wars is very important. Um, I think what the sequel trilogy did to that dynamic is an interesting thing. I think it's going to be talked about for a very long time. But getting back to getting back to Baby Yoda, what if it is Yoda? What if obviously Dave Filoni has a lot to do with this story that we are being told in The Mandalorian? What if somehow he brings back the all the stuff that we kind of that kind of went over our head in the Mortis arc? And what if the child is Baby Yoda, and for some reason somehow he got back here from where he was originally through the what do you call it, the time portals in the Mortis arc,
The
the
world between.
world between worlds. um who knows? That's one of the reasons I love Dave Filoni as a storyteller, because he really kind of sits back and looks at the bigger picture, and kind of takes from what he knows, being basically an apprentice to George Lucas, working side by side, with him during the production of the Clone Wars and subsequently Rebels. So I'm excited to see how this all kind of rolls out. And Vader's Girl 28, I happen to agree with you. But it's funny. I'm excited to see where this goes. Really, I want to see.
Yeah, I don't think that they would bring the world between worlds into here with the Mortis arc, but it would be a great way to do it because they can flesh it out and explain. If they have Ahsoka come and she could sit down with Din Djarin and explain it to him because he doesn't even understand the Force. So we know Ahsoka is one of the people that can go or that has been in the world between worlds. So if she was able for whatever reason to bring Yoda back or bring him through. And then
Yeah, and
she had
there's certain rules too. And Adam, I see that that you're commenting regarding the world between worlds. I don't think it's as easy as jumping in the TARDIS and pushing a couple of knobs, and then all of a sudden you're in 1922. There, there's he set up certain rules so it is not used as a clever plot device to just bring people back and have them reaffect the future or the past. So I think, obviously they have to tread carefully with this type of narrative, because it'll be real easy just to bring people back and have them, dilly dallying and affect the future. And I don't think that's something that plays well in Star Wars. Time travel is something that's very tricky. It's got to be done well. And a lot of times it's just kind of a lazy way of wrapping things up. Like I said, I love time travel. stories that are done well. Star Trek has done a couple of time travel stories that are really, great. Obviously, shows like Doctor Who, but Star Wars is, I really don't like the core idea or concept of time travel in Star Wars, but I think the world between worlds has an opportunity to do, not specifically time travel, but somehow introduce, how the force works within that realm, within that concept. I mean, I mentioned it. Brad and I talked about it in a previous show regarding how Yoda has this statement to Luke, through the Force, old friends you will see long gone, the future, the past. So obviously, in retrospect, now we know because Yoda understands the world between worlds, and we see him, talking to Ezra and all that stuff through that. It wasn't by design, obviously. It's kind of a retrofit, but I kind of like that explanation. I kind of like the fact that that they're introducing this kind of like, weird hocus pocus stuff into Star Wars, but it has to be done carefully. Otherwise, Adam, I would agree that it'll get a little wishy washy.
Yeah, because with the world between worlds, we only have a few people that have been able to access it. So that's
Yeah.
why Palpatine knew about it, but he couldn't access it. Once he got in there and was able to access it, then all bets were off because then he could time travel and do whatever he wanted to do. That was his major goal of getting in there because then he could control everything and keeping him out of there. So that's why Ahsoka can get in there. Ezra was in there. And we just have to, look at and think that Dave Filoni, he was the Padawan and George Lucas was his master. If you look at it that way, you
Sure.
have to think that, and when you listen to Dave Filoni talk, like the reverence he has for George Lucas as his mentor, and he wants to keep things, the same way or the way that George wanted them. Of course, they're going to be a little bit different, but if someone mentors you for years, and he might, Filoni might know what George's idea for Yoda's species was or Yoda's home planet, but George didn't want anybody to know. So Filoni's going to be like, okay, I know what it is, but I'm not going to tell anybody, or come out and show you guys exactly what it is, just to keep George's idea, in place. I mean, I think out of all people, that's why it's great to have him kind of at the helm or partially there,
Yeah.
driving the Star Wars canon because that's what George would have wanted, or that's what who knows. George is kind of going off the deep end, and it was going to be the sequel trilogy was all going to be up midichlorians. So
But you know what? People give that concept some shit, and I don't mind that because I love Force lore. I love Star Wars has that, that original concept of not only just good and bad, but the spiritualness of luminous beings we are, not this crude matter, and that's what I love about that aspect of it. And it doesn't have to be midichlorians, and I know people give that concept shit too because George introduced us to this this force, this living energy, and then the prequel trilogy kind of reduces that to kind of like a scientific thing where it's no longer mystical, but one man's magic is another man's science, and I think that's how I can explain the dichotomy between the Force in the original trilogy versus maybe the Force of the prequel trilogy.
Oh, and I agree with that because Anakin has the highest midichlorian count of anyone ever, but if he's not trained, it won't do anything except yeah, he's the only human that can be in the Boonta Eve Classic and be in the races because he has reflexes so advanced out of the human species or whatever humanoids species compared to the other aliens because he has such a high midichlorian count. But he would never, amount to anything if he wasn't trained or wasn't
Sure.
found to be a Jedi. And I'm just using those terms very loosely or vaguely, but I mean that's kind of how you have to look at it. So it's kind of like explaining why, yeah, anybody can go out and learn karate, but some people just genetically are predispositioned to be better than other people, or
Sure.
football or basketball.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can
Exactly.
learn you can learn how to, after practicing, shoot 98% of your free throws or 90% of your free throws if you practice enough. But some people it's going to be much easier for than others, and just kind of looking at it that way, it's explaining the genetics of the Jedi, down to why they were kidnapped as little kids and stolen away from their families. But that's why
And
there's
that's one of the reasons that I think that introducing new force powers is not a bad thing. I know, people also kind of complain about that. I think the force manifests itself in different people in different ways to give you certain abilities that maybe one Jedi can master more than another Jedi. I think there's a comic book. I think it's a Charles Soule, one of the new Star Wars, where Luke is explaining the Force to a young apprentice, talking about how the Force is kind of a door, and you're sitting at the door, and it just depends on how you're able to open that door to let the Force in. Some people can open it all the way. Some people can just open it a little bit. So, yeah, I guess it just makes that storytelling a little bit more interesting. Not everybody's got the same powers. And that's what, that's one of the things that I loved about The Force Awakens, when you saw, Kylo Ren just suspend that laser beam in midair. I'm like, holy crap, that was pretty good. So, yeah, we'll see.
yeah. I mean, that's why even if people aren't sports fans or whatever, I like using sports analogies, for the Jedi, because anybody can throw a football. It's just whether or not you can be an NFL quarterback, and then even with NFL quarterbacks, they all have different styles and they all have different accuracies or strengths or whatever it happens to be, or they can't be running backs or wide receivers or tight ends. So
Sure.
they're all different things, all different skills that are needed as the Jedi, but they can't all do everything. And the ones that can, you end up having Anakin's or Yoda's or um, Dooku's or whatever it happens to be. But that's why it's great too, because you get all different aspects of you can pick up stuff and know who's touched it, or like with, even though it's Legends, the shatter points where you get a Jedi like Mace Windu, who can see every possible outcome, and it's the same that Doctor from Marvel. He sees the 13 million possible outcomes, and the only one is to let whoever it was die. And it's like,
Hmm.
okay, because this is the only way that we're going to win.
Right.
You might not see it now, you might not understand it, but that's just it makes it so much better, and so much better for the stories that can then be told, because you can only tell so many stories of the Skywalker saga, and now we're going to get new Jedi stories, or going back 200 years, and we're going to find out that stories that don't have the Sith involved, because we don't know that they exist right now; they're extinct. So I mean, there's so many endless possibilities, and I'm one of the people that some people are like, oh, give us new stories, give us new stuff. I don't want Cassian Andor. I don't want Obi-Wan. Give us some new stories, or whatever it happens to be. And it's like, give us new stuff, and it's not filling in the blanks, but we saw Rogue One and Cassian Andor, so give us his story and see how that works, and give us the Obi-Wan story, which my other thing with Obi-Wan's story is, at Celebration, Kathleen Kennedy stood up there and said, we have the scripts, we're ready to go, everything's great. And then after The Mandalorian comes out, Lucasfilm says, oh, well, we're still working on the scripts. And then it's rumored that the scripts have to be rewritten because it's too much like The Mandalorian. I call BS on that. I think she was
Yeah.
just trying to say, hey, we got the scripts and they plan on having them written and having them done. And they just, they had to get new directors or writers or whatever it happened to be. And, then it comes time and all of a sudden, oh, wait, we don't have them. So everyone's guessing, oh, it's because they were too similar. Well, Lucasfilm and the story group knew what the scripts for The Mandalorian were. And if they would have had the scripts, for Obi-Wan, they would have seen them at the time and said, oh, these are too much, these are too close. They would have had to wait for it to actually hit the air on TV or the streaming service and be like, oh, wait, now that we see it on TV, we think these are too similar. We need to redo it. They would have known that a year or two in advance. So,
Yeah,
that's where I just think it's BS and,
well,
Twitter
here's
going
the other,
crazy.
yeah, here's the other thing too. There's another possibility that may exist. I don't know how, um, how realistic it is. There were kind of reports early on that Filoni and Favreau did not let Kathleen Kennedy on the set early on, um, and I'm wondering, if when Kathleen Kennedy saw all this stuff that was happening, then they realized, oh, wait a minute, this is our script is very similar to that, and it almost seems like there is a lack of communication between departments at that point, and which wouldn't surprise me, based on everything that we've seen lately. But it's as long as they take their time and create these scripts and these shows, in good faith to make them really memorable and special and things like that, I think they'll be great. I think I'm looking forward to Cassian. I'm looking forward to Obi-Wan. Now there's a rumor that there is going to be a Mace Windu series. They've talked about casting a younger Mace Windu, but having Sam Jackson reprise his role as an older Mace Windu. So I think I just saw that either yesterday or the day before or this weekend. But who knows? We're not sitting in the boardroom over at Disney, trying to figure things out. No one really has a leak embedded in Lucasfilm, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of the people in the boardroom of Disney have any idea what's going on with Star Wars. Anyways, they're just the money guys looking for the bucks. It's when you get into Kathleen Kennedy or other people, not actually the old money sitting there just counting being the bean counters. If it's like other corporations that they're completely out of touch with reality and don't know anything that's going on in the world except their money making situations for the company. And that's what something people forget. Everybody has these happy feelings for Disney. It's supposed to be great and Disney's supposed to be like this because we grew up with Disney and we're probably about the same age, we are about the same age. So Sunday nights at 7:00 on ABC was the Disney Sunday movie, and we used to watch it as a family together, or we'd pull up the sleeping bags till we fell asleep, or you went to Disney World, or you got the cartoons, and everything that went along with that. So everybody forgets that Disney's a company, and they sell us happiness, but their bottom line is to make their shareholders money. So when things come out and with the John Boyega thing and they release oh, this is when we're doing it. I mean, it's a crappy thing to do, but it's a business and you have to realize that they're just like every other corporation out there. Their main goal is to make money. It's not to appease the people. It's to make give the people what they want, but that's with content, not, and not to seem like scumbags, but, if they're just a corporation.
Yeah, definitely. I tweeted that out this weekend. People have to remember that, a lot of these companies, they're big for a reason. They're big because they're companies. They're geared to selling tickets. The only reason they care about the fans is to be able to, to get our money. Um, but we also, as fans, have responsibility to ourselves and to the rest of fandom, to kind of, I don't want to say dictate to companies in how they tell the stories, but to be responsible enough and kind enough to each other to accept the fact that maybe what I think is an awesome story, you might not, and take it for what it is. We're lucky that we have more Star Wars. We are lucky that Disney kind of took the mantle of creating more stuff. Some might not be your cup of tea, but Star Wars is far from dead, and we're just I think we're lucky to be on this roller coaster ride with this franchise that we all know and love.
Yeah, I mean it's great because we're still getting more Star Wars, and there's more Star Wars to come, and there's books to come, and I'm looking forward to the High Republic, and when the High Republic comes, we're getting 3 books in one day. Um, I think that might be counting the comic books, or um, that might be the fourth one with the um, comic book, but we'll just. I mean, it's so we have the Thrawn novel for right now, and then for novels that's pretty much it. But we're getting so many things for us to talk about. We're getting. I mean, I've gone through my Amazon list of books that are getting delivered, and I think I have probably 15 books coming from now till Christmas. Um,
Wow. I thought you
and
didn't. I
that
thought you hated reading.
they're not novels. They're yeah. That's the funny thing. I don't like reading. I hate reading. I do audiobooks,
Oh, there you
but
go.
I have about 200 Star Wars books, and none of them
Mm,
are probably only a few of them are novels. The rest of them are all art of books or answer
sure.
material or things that aren't actual Star Wars books with psychology behind Star Wars. Like I have a psychology book that just breaks it down, and each like mental or like each issue or each however you would explain it, there's a character in there that they use for it to be like this character suffers from this character has this. That's how they um, explain it, which actually does help a lot to make sense if you're not a psychologist.
Totally. I got about 10 minutes before I have to take off.
Okay, I actually just sent you a message in the chat, but that's cool. That's great. You already gave us an hour and a half, so that's great. We have Kyla just showed up,
Hey, yeah.
saying
What's up, Kylo?
saying hello to you.
Hello, Kylo. What's happening? Um, Pauline Harvey has an interesting question, and I don't know if it's something that I can answer because it really kind of depends. I'll use Obi-Wan Kenobi's line. It depends on a certain point of view. But it's interesting because, a lot of people talk about how the sequel trilogy damaged the Star Wars saga, the franchise. That's a personal thing. Each fan has to kind of determine that on their own if it indeed was damaged. I'm not sure. I don't like the sequel trilogy is probably my least favorite, but I don't consider Star Wars damaged. It's interesting. It's wounded and maybe on crutches, but I don't know if it's completely damaged or dead. I realize that a lot of people have some very polarizing opinions about what they like, who they like, why they like it. Between, we've got three trilogies now, so there's a lot there. My entry to Star Wars was the original trilogy, and somebody else's entry to Star Wars nowadays is going to be the sequel trilogy. So I don't think as fans, I don't think we should take that away from people. I think, we really do have to kind of accept other people's opinions as far as why they like things and not devalue their opinions because you wouldn't want them to do the same to you. But it is definitely an interesting question. I think, people are saying that the sequel trilogy is going to be remembered, for breaking Star Wars. Who knows if that happens? I mean, they were saying the same thing about the prequel trilogy, Phantom Menace and the other two films, but that hasn't happened. So, like I said, Pauline, it's an interesting question. I think my answer is everybody's going to have to learn how to like what they like with a passion and just accept the other stuff as somebody else's passion. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And that's the scuttlebutt.
And
It's
that's the scuttlebutt. I know. I was waiting for you to do that. So that's
totally
perfect.
right. Yeah, but I mean, that's where I always one of the things that Ro and I never agree on is where Star Wars makes its money. If it's from the normal people that just kind of watch the movies and go see them, or turn them on TNT when they're on and they're on in the background or whatever. Like someone like my father who's seen them all, in the theaters, but he couldn't tell you. I started asking him questions about problems that people had with it, and he could give two shits about it because he just thought it was a good movie. Because he doesn't dissect it the way we do. He's not going to sit here and talk every week about it or listen to podcasts about it or whatever. He just goes and he watches the shows, and his thing was the movie was great. It was Star Wars. When I was asking him questions, he was like looking at me like I was crazy. Like, why would I even question that? Or well, what'd you think about Palpatine coming back? Well, they said he came back. That's why he came back. Like, why does it matter? Why he came back? We're going to sit here and talk about whether or not we like it or not, and whether or not it's plausible, and does it take away from Vader's redemption because he killed them and this and that? Was that why he was the chosen one? But for the normal moviegoer or person that says, "Hey, I'm a Star Wars fan," but doesn't know if there's a new movie coming out until the trailer drops, and they've seen it 30 times that there's a new one. It hasn't done anything with them. It's us that are going to sit here and talk about it, whether or not, what we like and don't like. And that's like Kyle just said, I didn't read the whole thing because it just came up. But, goes along the lines of what Rose said. You gotta, Rose's line, which actually comes out of a Joseph Campbell book, not word for word, but there's a few words that are different about saving what you love. That's kind of what you need to do, and kind of like what Rose said. Whatever you like, whatever you love, that can be your Star Wars. That doesn't mean the other things didn't happen or aren't canon. You just kind of have to, accept that it's there, but you don't like it, and and just let other people that do like that and like what you like.
It's interesting. I wanna briefly talk about Kylo's quote, if you can put it back up. Um, and then I really do have to go. It's interesting because um, I think the reason a lot of people have strong feelings against and for the sequel trilogy, and let's focus on the sequel trilogy because really, in the modern times, in modern Star Wars fan times, the sequel trilogy is really what we're presently focused on. reactions to The Last Jedi, reactions to Rise of Skywalker, et cetera, et cetera. So, I consider myself a very passionate Star Wars fan. I have been since I was 7 years old. I've supplied Lucasfilm with my hard-earned money for decades. So if you want to use the term real fan, I don't like to do that, because if you like Star Wars, you're a fan. So I don't really want to like pigeonhole. Well, you're a real fan. You're not a real fan, because it's a double-edged sword to be able to kind of call someone that usually backfires on you. So you know I consider myself a passionate fan, yet Brad and I, we talk about this all the time on the Scare podcast. We're not, we see a lot of accounts saying all Star Wars is good. We're not really into that. We don't agree that all Star Wars is good from our perspective. There's different levels of quality. There's different levels of storytelling. So by definition, all Star Wars can't be good. But again, it all comes back to, your own personal view of that story, whether you like it, whether you agree with it. It shouldn't have a bearing on whether you're a real Star Wars fan or not. Like I said, if you want to use the terminology, yeah, I'm a real Star Wars fan. I don't know how much money I spent on Star Wars because I love it. I love everything about it. Am I, do I hate on the sequel trilogy? Not that I hate it. It's just that I don't agree. I don't like I don't like the stories they told. Um, um, so it's interesting that people do that. They say that real fans enjoy the movies, and if you're passionate for Star Wars, you can't hate on it. And I understand that's your opinion. I think the reason that we are so critical about certain aspects of Star Wars is because we are passionate and because we love it. It's, I'm going to get philosophical. It's, spare the rod, spoil the child sort of thing. And I know that's kind of over the top, but if you guys get my meaning, it's kind of, it's very similar. We love this franchise. We obviously, want it to be the best that it can be, and that's very subjective. But at the same time, there's certain things in Star Wars and all films that have a lifespan of 40 plus years, where not all of it is going to be, near perfect. For me, a near perfect Star Wars film is The Empire Strikes Back and Rogue One. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, the ones that I really don't hold up to that high standard is, The Last Jedi and, I don't know, the middle of the prequel, Attack of the Clones. But that doesn't mean that somebody else isn't the opposite of me. And again, I'm okay with that. We learn that a lot of the truths that we cling to depend on a certain point of view. And nothing can be, closer to the truth than our love for whatever Star Wars we choose. And that's the scuttlebutt.
All right, Ro. Thank you very much for hanging out and having a little chat with me about Star Wars.
Yeah, definitely. Kylo, he's got some more, wisdom coming down in the chat. And, again, this is tail end, but it's a very interesting topic to me because I love Star Wars. I cut myself and Star Wars comes out. So the fact that I dislike The Last Jedi so much hurts me. After The Force Awakens, I wanted to really love the next two episodes, the next two movies. I just didn't. And one, it not only hurts me, it pisses me off. But, you know, it's not because the creators did anything wrong. It's just, I just didn't like that story. And I think people need to understand that as Star Wars fans, we have a right to like what we like and not like what we don't like, but we shouldn't trample on the preferences of other people by calling them names or telling them that they're not real fans or et cetera, et cetera. So again, like I said, it's a topic that is very interesting to me as a long time fan of the franchise. The discord, the polarity that for whatever reason the Last Jedi generated between fans is a fascinating psychological chapter that us as fans are going through. And I don't see that stopping anytime soon. The movie was, released years ago, and people are still on it about it in Twitter, and I'm not talking about the folks that are being called the very small vocal minority. I mean, there are just regular people that are like, oh yeah, I didn't like The Last Jedi because of this. And I'm like, there people are still talking about it. So it's interesting to me.
But there's a big difference between someone saying I didn't like something, or like you, who I'm going to put words in your mouth here, who hated The Last Jedi or hated parts of The Last Jedi. But you don't go around saying how it ruined your childhood and Star
Right.
Wars is dead
Right.
and making, I think that's where the difference is. The people that are like you that don't like it and can actually have a civil conversation about why. And, I think it's the best Star Wars movie. You think it's the worst. We can have a civil conversation about it. That's different than the people that are talking about how Star Wars is dead, not my Star Wars, not my Luke Skywalker. I don't think it's canon. It ruined my childhood. Star Wars stole everything from me. Whether it was that or one of the hashtags that feel that way about the Rise of Skywalker. Also, um, so it's
It's
just
it's because we're sensible adults, Michael.
I mean, sometimes. But all right, Ro,
All right,
I know you need to
brother.
go. I wanna thank you. All of your information, well, for your Twitter information, um, your is in the notes, so they can find you. They can find you. They can find the podcast. They can find um, the network. And here's Matt Vader coming in right at the end. He didn't know we were doing
Yeah,
this.
Matt Vader.
Um,
I know he was earlier. He was. What were you doing? Grocery shopping with the missus? But yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I mean this was a great discussion. Like I said, between Brad and Alex and I mean we really we really get deep into these issues, and we talk about all the kind of the cool deep things that us as Uber fans like to talk about. Not just rumors and news of the day, but we really like to get deep in there. Matt Vader, if you watch the rest of the show, I think we talk about you guys a little bit, maybe around the 12-minute mark. But
I don't know what time it was, but your name did come up a couple times.
thank you
All for good
guys.
though, or
Thank
maybe some
you
bad.
everybody in the chat. It was a lot of fun. Kylo, yeah, awesome. We definitely should do another show and really, or maybe not. I don't know. Who knows?
No, I think it would be fun to have a round table. Get a couple people in here because, um, I know you can be level headed about it. Kyle can be level headed about it. Um, maybe we'll get Adam in here too, and whoever else, and just have the conversation about it because it's like he said what I was saying about it ruined my childhood and Disney's dead and it's not canon and it's like, well, it is canon. It might not, you might not like it, just
Yeah,
but
sure.
there's a big difference
Yeah.
between not liking something and making 30 videos a day about why you hate it. But
Excellent. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Pauline, Matt Vader, Kylo, Vader's girl, all you guys in the chat. It was a lot of fun.
All right, Ro, thank you very much, and I will talk to you in the future.
Excellent.
All right.
May the force be with you.
Always. All right, so that was Ro from the Scarif podcast and the Red 5 Network. With that, I say good day. May the force be with you. Always. All right, see? I remember to do it again. I remembered how to close it off, so when I turn it into a podcast, it actually sounds all right. So, yeah, there's not a lot going on. There was a bunch of cancel culture stuff going on this past week, whether it was with people in the fandom or actors or actresses. Adam, have a good night, man. I'll talk to you in Discord. But I don't really need to touch on that. Everybody already knows, what it is and has their viewpoint. It just comes down to people aren't looking for justice, whatever that is. They're looking for revenge, and it comes down to, if you don't agree with me, then you must be the devil, or whatever it ends up being. But so I'm not even going to deal with that right now because I don't have time for that. Those of you that have been hanging out in the chat or been coming here long enough have known, especially if you're on Twitter, that the last 2.5, 3 weeks, I'm barely on Twitter. Instead of being on there all day and having 10 or 15 posts a day, plus liking another 40 or 50 posts a day, or whatever it happens to be. You can now see I have 2 or 3 posts on there a day, and that's usually my playlist if I do it, or whatever it happens to be. But even that has dramatically decreased. And my mental health has not been better in, years. Just not having to deal with all the bullshit on there, and whatever. But we do have a couple things that came in the mail. I don't have my scissors. I need to go grab my scissors. And there you can see, I told Ro, I don't know if it was on before we started or after. My office is almost all set up. I'm waiting on my chair, and I don't want to sit on one of the kitchen chairs, even though they're comfortable. I streamed on Live It for 2 or 3 hours before this, and then I had dinner. And I don't want to sit in a chair like that for from whatever it was, from 4 to 7, and then I was out of 8, whatever, like for 5 or 6 hours. I don't want to just sit in a kitchen table chair. So I've been still on the couch, but you can see Danielle is going to be doing some picture thing over here. So these are all the pictures that we're going to have. They're up there right now with those are the placeholders for them. But let me go grab the skizzers because we do have a couple things, and I have something to show you too. This is great. This is great TV because you're just looking at a black screen, or maybe a puppy. Well, I'm going to get a beverage too because I'm thirsty. Yeah, so Danielle finally decided to let me turn the spare bedroom into part of an office. It's like the spare bedroom There's now going to be half an office and half not my office, I guess. I don't know. It's going to be separated with my space backdrop that everyone has seen. And all right, so I mean, yeah, unless there's anything here, I'll put this on here in case anybody wants to come on here and chat. Matt Vader, he's the one that I sent the pop to. I need to talk to Kylo about some things, but that's later on, I guess. Yeah, so he's the one that I sent the pop to. And Adam is not level-headed. He is an asshole. I'll just be nice to him. He's not here now, so I can say that. Because there's no way in hell he would ever possibly find that out when I said that. So, all right, there we go. Pauline is still here and wants to know what's in the box. Yeah, there was the Mandalorian pictures that came out. But I'll be honest with you, I've only seen a little bit of it. I went the other day. I didn't go and buy them last week when they came out on Tuesday. I went the other day to go get them, and a couple of the Walgreens around me didn't have any of them, and they don't even know if they carry them because they don't do the magazines. Someone else, a third party, comes in with the magazines. And I called Barnes and Nobles, and they were out of them. I called the different Barnes and Nobles, and they were out of them. So that's kind of where we're at. I want both of them because I want both covers. But I guess I'm just going to have to read them online. I mean, I could pull it up right now and go through that, but yeah, I'm not going to. So, all right, here we go. Kylo, are you still here, or did you leave? Here we go. We got a box. What's in the box? Any guesses what's in the box? What's in the box? And we have a Kylo.
Yeah, we have a Kylo. Can you hear me?
Yeah, dude. What game are you watching? I'm gonna guess you're watching Chicago Bears and something.
No, not a Bears fan. I watched the Steelers. They beat the Giants tonight, and then right now it's Tennessee and Denver. Wait to see if the trailer pops up during halftime of that game. That's the reason why I'm watching this shitty game, is to see if the trailer's going to show up in there.
Yeah, I was looking at something. I was looking on YouTube to see if there was anything on there about the trailer. So, Booba, what are you doing? Why do you have to go behind the bill behind me?
I keep on seeing people saying that it wasn't on there yet, but it's still Monday Night Football. You never know; it could come on during this game.
Well, that's what Ron and I were talking about earlier. It's if they do it now, it's 11:30 at night. My time in New York City, right. Almost. But it's 8:30, and on the East Coast or on the West Coast.
Right.
So that's going to give you a couple hours of people talking about on Twitter and, whatever. And, on the news and coming out. But then you're going to get it in the morning, too. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. Not necessarily Twitter, because your average person or normal person that does like Star Wars isn't going to know that it even hit Star Wars Twitter unless it's trending and they see it in their trends.
Right.
But,
Or if they
kind of like
go
what happened.
on.
Yeah, kind of like what I was saying, what happened with the High Republic, and I had it all set up with, this person or that person talking about books and movies and video games, because, when they said multimedia, I thought they meant multimedia. I didn't know that they meant books and comic books, because they're actually two different classifications of media. And I was like, okay, well, that kind of really sucked. But, and then it was like, people are like, oh, it's getting too late. I got to bail out. And it's like, I completely understand. You were supposed to come on at, whatever time and talk when they said it was going to drop. And then it went from 7 o'clock to 7 o'clock Pacific time to, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock Pacific time. And it's like, people can't be coming on at 1 a.m. when, they have to work and whatever. So, that was understandable. So it was just kind of a waste that day. But all right. Since we got Kylo here, we got this bad boy. This came a few days ago, but because I am my video behind on Funkos, and then I still have 2 or 3 more videos to make on Funkos.
What's in the box?
And then I have a couple of videos to make on some other things too. And plus all my editing to make these into podcasts.
So what's in the box? Where'd that box come from?
It is from Target.
Oh, Target. I know what that is. So I know what's in the box. I know what's in there.
It's just another box.
Yeah. It's a box.
Little puppy box.
Another box with a dog ass.
It's a cute puppy butt. Not a dog ass.
It looks like a Delilah. Like she can fit in there.
She probably could. I should.
Maybe I should kill.
So, yeah. Did you see my post that I put up on Instagram in the group that I redid all of my Funko Pops?
I've not really been on Instagram, but I can go and look.
I mean, you don't need to right now. But okay. It's funny because the box is a little bit crushed back here. But we have Baby Yoda.
Target Yoda?
Target Yoda.
Is it Target?
Yep, this is the one where he is looking upset or sad or whatever they're calling it.
Sad, whatever, yeah.
Yep. So there is that one. There's another one in here too, because you got to order 2 in case someone needs one and can't get one. And it is Target, so chances are they'll be able to get it. And I think they're back up for sale right now, but that's just how we do.
Target is hard to get stuff, like especially those exclusive ones. The ones that the Target exclusives, they're hard as hell to find. I have better luck finding other ones. Target, honestly, if Target people are listening, you guys suck. You guys hide them in the back room. You don't say that you have them when everything inventory finders say that you guys have them in stock, or we call from another store and somebody says that they're there, and then when we show up, all of a sudden a case of 12 of them is MIA, or 2 cases of 6. It's just Target shady.
And a lot of it too is their employees, number one, don't know and don't care. You send them in the back to well, I'm looking right now, and it says on the app that you guys have 6 in store. Well, let me go back and check. And, I've worked in retail before. You don't give a shit if they have this toy or not. They go back there and they, talk to their friends for 5 minutes and come back and like, yeah, we couldn't find it, even though it's sitting right next to them the whole time, because they don't give 2 shits about it. But, because what's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen. All they got to say is, oh, I didn't see it or whatever, But that's, I can't, it's not all of them. Some of them do.
I mean, I'm sure there are stores with employees that aren't assholes, but I'm just speaking on personal experience of the 6 that are in my surrounding area within a half an hour suck ass.
Yeah,
and that's it. They do why,
That's the other thing in New York City. I have to go a mile and a half away or 2 miles away. But once I get to that first one, from that first one within a mile, I have 2 more. A half a mile away and a half a mile away. But it's just the fact that it's New York City, so the majority of people don't drive. So I need to take a bus or a train to get to that one. And then I need to walk a half mile or a mile to the next one, or take a bus, or take the train. So it's not like hopping in your car. And even if you had to drive 20 miles to one and 20 miles to another one, it'd be faster than me having to go that half mile, waiting 20 minutes for the bus, or the 20 minutes or a half hour to walk there. So it's going. Even though there's a lot of stores in New York City that Targets or whatever to go around and find them, it's really a pain in the ass, especially when it says, yes, we have them in stock, and you get there and then they don't have them in stock. So. Well, here, we'll put it that way. Everybody already saw my address. Doesn't really matter. If you saw my address, you see my address again. There you go.
There's my address. Send me stuff.
Yeah, there's my address. Send me some shit, yo. We got another one of these.
Oh shit! That reminds me. I gotta go to the post office and send you your fucking your what do you call him? Yoju? Juyo? What do you call him?
Yoju, Yoda Jr.
Yoju. Okay.
Yeah, I got stuff I gotta send you too. I gotta.
Speaking of that, don't worry about that red trooper, jetpack trooper.
Okay.
I ended up getting one of those. Yeah, I was gifted. My sister brought me one because she thought like my anniversary was in August, because that's when we actually held our reception last year because of a bunch of stuff going on. But she like missed my anniversary by like 3 months. So she's like, here, happy anniversary. Here's this. I was like, oh shit. Awesome. But I'm like, you're like 3 months late, yo.
All right. So out of this box, this box right here, this box came this guy, the Black Series Kanan Jarrus. Which I don't have in the regular boxing. This one they just redid the face sculpts on it and, whatever else BS that they did. So now I only need one more. I was like, oh, this is all scratched up. It's not scratched, it's taped. So we're good. I only need one more, and that is Ahsoka, who has not been released yet. And then I will have the whole set of these new ones. And once I have that, then I will do a quick little. I'm going to call it unboxing because that's what you do. But I'm not taking them out of the box. It's going to be like, here, take a look at this guy. Take a look at this guy. So.
Isn't Ahsoka already out?
Not
released in a purple package, because I could have swore somebody at the GameStop out here had it on pre-order and it came in because I was trying to buy it.
Well, mine's in the mail.
Oh, okay.
I got mine from Entertainment Earth. Oh, no, this is from GameStop. That's right. This line is from GameStop because GameStop had it where if you bought all of them, they had a special. If you bought all of them, it was like you got like 1.5 free. It was like $30 off. So it was 6 figures. So the 6 figures would be 7 figures. 7 figures. 7 figures would be 120, and then the last one was 30, so it was 150. So it was like 150 something for all of them, plus tax and whatever else. Because the Zeb was worth $30. But if you got them all from GameStop, it was like $25 off or whatever, and that's what I did. And so they hit GameStop, I think, yesterday or within the last couple of days. But GameStop, it takes a week for them to mail it to you. So I think mine's actually supposed to come. I thought it was today. Maybe it's tomorrow. Whatever date they had for it, but that was it. So. But yeah, Kyle, stick around for a second, and I'll talk to you. We'll figure out. But I got Revan too, or there might be something else. But I think that's gonna do it for today. We didn't do a septic tank last week on YouTube, but a couple people stopped by Live It and said hello to me on there. So that was cool. So we'll most likely do the septic tank again this Saturday. I was just wanted a little break, and I've been trying the last couple of weeks for a little break on that. But every time I say, "Hey, I'm not going to do it tonight," someone says, "Oh no, I have this Saturday off. Please do it. I want to hang out," or whatever it happens to be. So this past week was I still streamed. It was just on a different platform. But yeah, thanks everybody for stopping by. And we still got a few people in the chat. We got a couple of looky-loos, I think. But I know in the chat we still have Pauline and Vader's Girl. So thank you very much for coming and hanging out with us.
Is there anything they want to talk about, or is anything they want to ask? My voice reminds her of Jay. I don't think my voice sounds anything like Jay's, but
I don't even know where you're seeing that.
That's in the chat.
No, I know I'm looking, but okay, I see it now. Yeah, I know I see it now. Yeah, something I don't know, dude. I messed up my computer. I changed the font on everything, and now it's really weird. So some of my letters are like stuck together and whatever. I don't know what it is, but yeah. I don't know if there's anything else going on. If anybody's got any questions or whatever, let us know. I know Pauline usually doesn't hang out too late. This is kind of getting late for her, and Vader's Girl already asked some questions. Yeah, I don't know. I don't hear Kylo and Jay sounding alike, but
maybe the accent. Maybe it's that Midwestern Chicago accent I got. That mafia accent that I have. Since the mafia's here from Chicago, the mobsters.
Yeah, and Jay's from Louisiana, so I don't know.
Oh, Christ, there's no way in hell I sound like somebody from Louisiana. But that's okay, though. I mean, it's all right, though. Jay's cool. I was wondering where he's at. I wonder where he's at today.
He was here earlier. Oh, and I got this. So my the base for my award burnt out. I don't know what happened to it. The only thing it would do is blink. And I tried changing the batteries and do whatever. I think I need a new base for it. Right. But one of my friends sent me this. The only color I can do it on that will show up on screen is red. Everything else is too bright. You can't get the definition of it on there. So
that's the same base, isn't it? they did a different light
Well,
up.
it's actually a little bit different. But yeah, it's the size of it's different. Or the input. Um, where you slide this in is different.
Oh,
But see now it just turned green itself. But this is what happens when you show it green. Oh, this one's not okay. This one's a lot better. When I
that
was
one
doing it
shows
yesterday.
up a whole of a lot better. Yeah.
Okay. Well, no. When I was streaming it yesterday, I was using my webcam, the external one, to show the video game, and then I was doing commentary on the video game, and I was streaming that on Live It, and then I was using my camera on my computer for myself. But I guess it's the difference in that camera 720. This one's that I'm showing you right now is 1080. So I guess it's the difference in the camera. That's why you can actually pick it up. Because yesterday was if I was just using the camera on the computer, it was just white or like it was just bright like this. So, but there's that one, and then it has a Millennium Falcon
That's cool.
and an R2D2.
Nice.
Which this one yesterday, just with
I
the
need
light,
like 4 of them.
with the light, it just looked like a big penis. Because all you could see was this, and that there was no
Shaft of the head.
definition.
See, yeah, when you back it up, it looks like one of Christina's toys.
Yeah. This is the wrong show. This isn't the septic tank for that. But
This is after hours now.
yeah, man. So
You're like pushing midnight, bro. This is like after hours.
yeah. So all right, guys. If there's now it went to blue. It changes color when I take it in and out, which is kind of weird. Not intentional or anything.
Yeah, this is definitely the wrong show.
Yeah. We'll have to bring this out for Saturday. We'll have to rally the troops for Saturday, and see how you go further away like that. But even like here, where you can get the definition, you weren't getting that at all yesterday when I had it with just the other cam. You weren't getting any definition; you're just getting light. So it's definitely the camera on there. But so yeah, Vader's Girl and Pauline, thank you very much for hanging out.
Thank you, ladies, for joining or sticking around and listening to me being a dumbass at the end of the show, as always.
I just wish there was more.
You know what, though, Michael? I think there's going to be some more time.
There's more going.
There's going to be more time to get into the videos coming up soon because, the weather is going to start getting pretty crappy and we're not going to want to be outside and I'm not going to have to do anything out in my yard. So that's where I've been at a lot of these Mondays and Saturdays is working in the yard, barbecuing, bonfires, a lot of stuff I shouldn't be doing but needed to get done. But now that the weather's getting crappy, I'll be back on YouTube or whatever a lot more often than I was.
Yeah.
Summertime is not a time for me to be on videos because I have way too much other stuff to do.
And also, I mean, there's not a lot going on. Like I could, pull up all the Mandalorian pictures and articles, but that's already a week old, and that's going to be another hour or two if we go to talk about it. And we're already at the 2-hour mark on here, and I streamed for 2 or 3 hours on Live It before this, my Sims Star Wars, and I got some stuff I got to do after this. So I think I'm going to call it a night on that. So with that, I say good day. May the Force be with you. Always.
Always. Goodbye, guys. See you next time.
Bye.